Think about how easy it was after 9/11. George Bush could have done whatever he wanted to.
Yeah. Well, that's how we got into Iraq.
Yeah.
I mean,
he had a blank check.
Yeah. Everybody was like, take care of it.
Yep.
Take care of it.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I remember feeling the strangest sense of patriotism driving down the road and seeing everybody with an American flag hanging off their car. Yeah. People were all in.
Yeah, dude. I was 18 when 9/11 happened, and I was living in Prospect Heights, which is like if Flatbush Avenue kind of runs down to the Manhattan Bridge, and the Brooklyn Bridge is down there too. It's like a couple miles away from the World Trade Center. And I remember we got out of school. I think I was a senior in high school. And we got out of school, and I remember walking to my house at and looking down Flatbush Avenue. So this has been a couple hours now since the towers came down, and seeing people covered head to toe in soot, like they walked over the Brooklyn Bridge and just came home because there's like no subways running or nothing. So they're just walking, just covered, like, oh, that guy got caught in the middle of it. And it was a crazy feeling in the city. The whole thing was insane. It seemed like it seemed impossible. No one could ever hit us. This is America in the 90s. I mean, it wasn't the 90s, but it was still the 90s until 9/11. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you were like, this is impossible. This couldn't happen. And I remember when George W. Bush came and gave that speech on the megaphone.
Yeah.
And it was like almost perfect in his simplistic, way, where he goes, I want you to know we hear you in Washington, D.C. And pretty soon, the people who knock down these towers, they're going to hear you too. And I remember being like, fuck yeah, you just picked a fight with the baddest motherfuckers, and we're going to fuck your shit up. But I was an idiot fucking, kid. But if I fell for it completely.
Everybody did.
But it was just like, that's kind of how it is. When you're hurt and you feel like you got hit and they killed our people, well, we're going to fucking kill your people, motherfucker. But then you kind of realized, and this is what like Ron Paul taught me, is it's like, yeah, okay, that impulse that you just had? Exactly. That's what they feel. So it's like the same way that you kill us, motherfucker, we're going to kill your fucking people. You go, that's it. That's the same exact thing that the fucking terrorists are feeling. That's the same thing their side's feeling. That they're like, oh yeah, you come here and bomb our fucking village, we're going to kill your fucking people, And you realize it's kind of like that's the whole fucking cycle. And it's like, I don't know. It's like, I remember literally saying this when I was arguing with S.E. Cupp and them on our show, where there'd be like an attack. Even like the littler ones, I remember there was one where like a New York guy, some Muslim guy in New York, like hit people with his car, and he was like, said he was part of ISIS or something. I don't even know how connected he was. And they're like, they're all like, well, don't we have to do something about this? I mean, don't we have to go bomb, Syria or do something about this? And you're like, right, you just got hit, and now you feel like we have to do something. But what's something? Blow shit up, right?
Yeah.
It's not just like something, like give a speech. You're saying we got to blow shit up over this. It's like, all right. Well, maybe that's their perspective too.
And also, once you blow shit up, people want to blow shit up back.
Yeah, and now you're just continuing this. And so like, oh, we got to fight him over there, so we don't fight him over here. But you're like, well, maybe that actually ensures that we have to fight him over here.
And isn't it wild that during this most chaotic of times in our history, if we think about the future of the world, we think about the possibility of war. It's escalated, and we have the craziest situation as a president and a vice president. The thing is wild. Like the only options we have, or from the right or the left, we're like, what the fuck? This is it? Like, this is all that's left? It's like going to the supermarket during the pandemic and there's nothing on the shelves.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God.
All that's here is a Trump and a Biden? That's all we
pickles?
have? Like, really? All right.
We're going to eat a jar of mayonnaise and pickles.
Oh my God.
That's all that's here.
And the thing about it that's kind of crazy is that it's like, it is so entertaining. Even though you kind of know it's a disaster. Like, I remember when Trump announced he was running again, it was literally like I was like, this is so bad for the country. God damn, this is going to be fun. Like, all in one thought, like, God damn, this is going to be funny as shit. Like,
it definitely was that. It definitely was funny.
But I'm saying 24 is going to be funny. Like, it's just, but it's bad. Hopefully there's like more. I really hope that, that Robert Kennedy Jr.'s campaign like has some impact and like takes off. I hope more good people run.
But how could he possibly win?
Well, he's probably not going to win.
If there, I mean, right. So like, all he's doing is getting the message out.
Getting the message out, but I think that's valuable. You know, I think that's very valuable, and I also think things like that can, like, it can like check the establishment a little bit if they're like, whoa, a lot of people like what this guy's saying. Maybe we can't get away with this right now. Maybe we can't get away with that. Like there have been examples of that before where that happens. They try to do something and they realize this is going to be too many people are going to be upset about this.
Yeah, wasn't there talk during the Obama administration about some sort of regulation of the internet?
Yeah, the SOPA bill, the SOPA and PIPA, there were like these proposals that were like real deal going to regulate the internet. Not like big tech censorship shit, like really the government was going to regulate the internet. I'm telling you, Joe, they'd have shut your show down if that shit had passed.
100%.
If SOPA had passed, there's no way your podcast goes through the pandemic.
No way.
There's no way you're allowed to have dissident doctors and scientists on to give like their point of view on how every policy is wrong. They just wouldn't have allowed it. No. And so that didn't happen. We're still like in the game with a fighting shot because enough people, you know, got furious about that. And look, I should to be fair, there was also corporate help with that. Like back then, a lot of the tech companies were against it because they were still like, they weren't in bed with the government as much back then. And there was like, I believe Google was really against it. And so they helped push kind of that message. So I do think also like, we're going to need a mass awakening in this country, but we're also going to need like powerful people. This is like what you see, what's really encouraging with Elon Musk buying Twitter is you kind of see that like, yeah, that's necessary too. You got to have like a badass billionaire who's like on board with this, who can actually do something about it.
Because he's so valuable.
Yeah. Yeah.
That move, I know that pissed a lot of people off. There's a lot of people that are just missing the fucking point, man. They're mad that questionable people are allowed to be on it. Listen, man, all sorts of questionable people are already on there.
Yeah.
The Taliban's on Twitter. The CCP's on Twitter.
Joe Biden.
There's
all types of bad people.
There's always been people on Twitter.
Yes. Yes. And come on, it's like it's also like you kind of just like miss. You know, like don't get it twisted. It's like, again, like when it's like what I try to say with the Ukraine thing. It's like, look, if the people who didn't have anything to say over what happened in Yemen over the last like 7 years are really upset about the humanitarian crisis in Ukraine, it's like, just don't be a fucking mark.